Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever I'm finding you. Today we are going to be going over our video diary assignment. Now on the newsfeed I have posted an example which should be pretty helpful to you, I think, to see sort of what it's going to look like. But basically there are two parts. You're going to do a script and you're going to do a video, sort of like a video log from a character's point of view. So the learning goal for this task is to showcase your oral presentation skills and your close reading of a text. You're going to choose one of the short stories or the poems that we studied this term. So it could be any of the three short stories that we did for the different lenses. It could be any of the three poems that we did or four poems. Your task is to create a video diary from the perspective of one of the characters. That means from their point of view. You can decide at what point in the story the person has decided to record the video diary, but you should choose a point where you have enough information to relay. Your monologue should be 1 to 2 minutes in length. You will be evaluated as if it were an oral presentation, so remember to have excellent posture, eye contact, and voice projection, the same way that you would if you were presenting to a room full of your peers in a brick and mortar school. You can also consider adding some theatrical value to your performance. So you can add costumes or props or backgrounds. It's not necessary, but certainly a good way to go above and beyond. The only thing I will sort of warn you about is make sure that you are not wearing any sunglasses or hats pulled down low, because that would make it difficult for me to evaluate your eye contact. You will be evaluated as well on the content of the monologue, what you are writing. So it should represent the setting, the events, and the character, and you should include lots of details from the stories or poems. Be sure to make connections to the stories obvious by mentioning exact places, people, and happenings from the story. You can also discuss what feelings the character might have had when these events occurred. So think of what the character might have included in a personal diary that no one else would read. What would they be thinking about? What would they be feeling? Make sure it's an unfiltered look at their response to the events. So I'm sure your big question, how am I going to be evaluated? How do I get a level 4? How do I go above and beyond to make sure I get the highest mark possible? So what does a level 4 look like? You need to use many details from the story or the poem. So I'm evaluating the content, what you're actually saying, what you have written down in your script. So you want to show a deep understanding of the character, what motivates them, what would their thoughts be, what would their feelings be surrounding the events of the story. Use as many details as you can, actual names, places, happenings in the story, to make sure that you are sort of showcasing your knowledge about the setting, about the characters, and about all of the events of the story. Next, I'm going to be evaluating your oral communication. You need to make sure that you're speaking really clearly and distinctively. You want to avoid any kind of mispronunciation or mumbling or tripping over your words and phrases. You basically want to demonstrate that you have rehearsed it really well and that you know exactly what you're saying and there are no mistakes, which can be kind of a little bit easier in this situation because you are recording a video instead of, presenting on the fly in front of a class the way that you would in a brick and mortar school. So you need to make sure that you are expressing excellent expression, tone, intonation. Make sure that the sort of feelings are conveyed not just through the content of what you're saying, but also in the way that you're saying it. How would that character say it? Also, we need to think about our delivery. So you need to make excellent and creative use of body language and staging. So that means maybe that you are, making great eye contact with the webcam, that you have strong, confident body language, and that you are possibly doing movements. You are maybe having a costume, or you're maybe having some kind of a background, and a virtual background is completely okay, in order to show that you're going above and beyond to deliver this material in a really great way that sort of exceeds expectations of what a video log might look like. So think about that background. If a character is in a certain setting, maybe you can find a virtual background, or maybe you can create a background in a simple way that sort of showcases that in a way that you're delivering also to show the content of the story. But wait, what are we going to open? Of course, we're going to open our course calendar and we're going to have a look at the FAQs and just some sort of summary details about how to do this video diary. So you want to look at when it's due. You want to look at the percentage of what it's worth, which is a lot. It's worth more than some of the other smaller assignments. So you want to make sure that you really focus on it and give it your best effort. Some of the questions that people have asked: what characters can I choose from? You can choose any of the characters from any of the stories or poems that you read since this course has begun. Do you write out a script? Yes, of course. You should write out a script and you should submit it alongside your video. Do you have to dress up like the character? No, but it's a really good way to make sure that you're going above and beyond and making sure that you are sort of hitting that level 4 by doing a really great presentation. Are you marking the video quality or the background? No, I'm not. But a virtual background is certainly a way that you can further showcase the character. So I am marking your critical thinking in terms of the character and how you are showing me how you thought deeply about what they might think or what they might say. That being said, the delivery is certainly improved by making sure that I can hear you well, making sure that I can see your eye contact. All of that kind of stuff needs to be present. So just because you don't have, a Mac with like all of these great things to be able to add more to your video, it doesn't mean that you cannot use just your webcam, just your iPhone, or your whatever smartphone you have in order to make sure that I can hear you well, that I can hear you pronouncing well, and that I can see your eye contact and see all of the things that I am evaluating. So just, it doesn't need to be this amazing, perfect, well put together, well edited thing. That being said, I do need to hear you. I need to see you. I need to make sure that what I am evaluating is, good quality as far as the critical nature of depicting the character. How long should it be? 2 to 4 minutes. I would say about 2 minutes is reasonable. You can go up to 4, but it's certainly not necessary. I would say 2 or 3 would be the average of what I have seen in the past. So if you want to see any examples, do make sure that you have a look at the newsfeed, because I'm going to post a couple there that show what the video diary looked like in a previous class when we were creating this diary based on the short story Borders by Thomas King. And I will include a copy of the story as well, in case you want to just sort of look it over and see where they're getting the thoughts and ideas from the story, just so you can sort of translate that to the stories or the poem that you are choosing. So one last thing I did want to talk about is how to submit. So this is a Dropbox assignment. So you're going to click on assignments, and I'll just show you again. It's right here, this blue box with the yellow arrow. And what you're going to do is you're going to click, of course, on video diary to submit. Now you are submitting multiple files here. I want to see your script and I want to see your video. So you can read through again, go over the rubric again, make sure that you have all of that information that you need, and then you're going to submit 2 files. Now there are a couple ways of doing this. If you have trouble uploading your video, perhaps your video file is too large, you can, in this comment section, add your link to a Google Drive video, or if you've uploaded it to YouTube and you have selected anyone with the link can view, you can put that in the comment section, and then you of course add your script as a PDF file by clicking add a file. So please do submit the script as a PDF. It just makes it so much easier for me to see it in the marking software in Brightspace. Now for your video, please, please, please remember to set your permissions that either I can view it or anyone with the link can view it. If I cannot open your file, I cannot mark it, and I have to assign a 0, at least temporarily. Now, last semester, I had a couple of students, not even just one, but a couple of students who kept forgetting to change their permissions, and they ended up with a 0 on their final report card just because they did not set it to anyone with the link can view or to add my email that I can view it. So that's really, really important. You don't want to do a bunch of hard work on this video and then get a 0 on that portion because you just did not submit an appropriate link that has permissions set. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So that's how to complete it. Use whichever program you are comfortable with. And I know it can be overwhelming to have to hand in a video with your face on it, and it's a little stressful. But just remember, it's so much easier than having to do an oral presentation for me to get that oral mark. So whenever you are finished that, please hand it into the Dropbox. So the 2-part script and the video itself. Okay, have a wonderful afternoon. If you have questions, email as always.